Oh yeah, come on in. Don't be shy, don't stall. We got a funky vibe, yeah. Welcome all. It's a safe spot where the truth of mine. Share your thoughts, leave your worries behind. Woo! Defenseless, that's where you belong. Click that like and groove along. Hit subscribe, let the love flow free. Join the fam where you're meant to be. Woo! Got mysteries, stories, good and right. We dig deep, ain't no secrets to hide. No judgment here, just an open crew. We're all about justice and the honest view. Yeah, defenseless, that's where you belong. Click that like and groove along. Hit subscribe, let the love flow free. Join the fam where you're meant to be. There you are. G'day, welcome. Fancy meeting you here. Hello. Happy Friday, the 9th. The 9th for you, isn't it? Yes, it is. 10th for me, 9th for you. Morning. Do you know what? I don't know what it is with my brain, but I just cannot seem to get the time differences and coordinating what time the stream should play over there. I just can't get it right because it crosses over. So it's the 10th here for me, and it's technically morning, but it's nighttime, and it's morning for you over there. And I just, the brain, not compute. The master. Howdy doody. So you're doing it again, Mistress here. Doubling up. Greedy. Well, I have to say the weather here has been terrible. Just horrible. Like 111 degrees and like gale force winds. There we go. It's probably a bit better. Just horrible. And I don't know if you know, but there are currently bushfires raging here at the moment. And yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to all the firefighters that are actually, putting their lives at risk because the firefighters over here, the CFA, are all voluntary, and half of my family are there, or half of my family are in the CFA, and always are out. Not fighting just bushfires, but structure fires, all sorts. So, but today, the fire is actually in Yea, which is where all my family that are in the CFA live. So they're actually fighting their own fires and their own properties. So shout out. All I can say. Some horrible photos and movies and pictures, and it's just I did post one up of a couple of pictures in the community post. I probably should see if I can have a look, see if I can find a quick one. A quick one. We'll have a wee quickie. Where's that? Right there. Oh. I've got a live stream. Well, wacko little O, wouldn't you know? Australia has a live stream on YouTube going about the bushfires. All right, let's have a look at this one. Oh, share screen. Hopefully I don't get copywritten. It's educational, is it not? This one. No. Stop. 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 Why did it do that? Jesus. Thank you. Now, there's a bloody setting for that. There. Right.
Victoria, 3 people are unaccounted for and multiple homes have been lost as fires rage across the state. The Hume Freeway is closed between Seymour and Violet Town, with a number of emergency warnings in place for that region to get out now. Nick McCallum is in the fire zone. Nick, thanks for being with us. Take us through the situation where you are.
Well, I'm currently at Yea.
Oh my Lord, I don't know how many times I've stopped at that truck stop right there. Wow. No, it's about an hour from me, but it's so I'm sort of in suburbia. There's no bushland, so to speak, around me. But yeah, this is a road that I used to travel daily because it takes you up to the high country, up to Mansfield, and we'd go camping there all the time, and all the stops along from here. Yea is like the central hub. You either then go to Eildon one way, which is a massive lake, or you head up to the high country camping from there. So a lot of people stop there, and that's where they refuel and get some lunch and rah. But yeah, the fire won't get to me, no.
As you can see behind me, the police have actually left their roadblock. They are actually moving to an area and stopping people coming into the town. And this is the reason why. You can see the plumes of smoke off here. It's rising and getting closer to this town.
Wow.
Now, it's getting darker and darker as we go around to the right. And now, of course, obviously as well, there's an eerie, very unpleasant feeling here. Police, a short time ago, let a whole lot of people in from nearby Alexandra. It's a township about 25 kilometres away. A number of the people there reported that they believe their houses had been destroyed. It's all part of the Longwood fire. Now, the worst hit in Longwood is a little hamlet called Ruffy. CFA believe around 20 homes have been destroyed there. One old school, which was a community hub, it too has been destroyed. And of course, a telephone exchange has been destroyed. And that has created havoc with communications. As you mentioned, 3 people...
You can imagine the actual conditions that these firefighters have to endure. So not only is it 111 degrees Fahrenheit outside, you then have the fire, the heat from that fire, yeah? And then they have to wear their massive, heavy fire retardant suits that you just drip sweat in. You could bathe in it. And they are out there and they're not getting paid a cent. Yeah. It's one of the biggest things, the biggest issues we have in Australia is bushfires. If you can imagine Las Vegas with all this grassland and, 100k gale force winds, yeah.
Missing in that area, a husband,
Hello,
a wife,
Mr. Kevin.
and also
How are you
a
doing?
young child. Now, CFA...
Just doing a quick update on the bushfires before we start. But welcome. Thank you for joining us.
People actually saw them yesterday, told them to move into their house because it was too late to leave. They returned late last night and found the house has been destroyed. So far, they have been unable to find these 3 people. They stress they're unaccounted for at the moment. They are not considered casualties at this stage. Elsewhere around the state, Malakuta, which was the absolute epicentre of the Black Summer fires 6 years ago, has been hit by a series of lightning fires. Now, there are 13 of them around Gippsland and the high country. Fortunately for locals at Malakuta, who obviously are very nervous this time of year, the fires around there, while being spectacular and looking nasty, are not actually endangering any private property. But one resident...
I'm surprised, actually. Malakuta is a coastal town. That's where I went and saw So I went and saw the cockroaches before they became the wiggles.
We
Oh,
spoke to
mate.
there said it was enough. She is going to put her house on the market next week. She can no longer cope with that. Also, right around the state at the moment, the fire has grown from 30,000 hectares today damage to 80,000 hectares of damage. 700 firefighters around the state are battling all these blazes. 92 already from New South Wales, 117 from other states are expected to arrive here tomorrow. It's going to be a long night here, Alex, for the people of Yea.
Yeah.
There is a change that is expected to happen about 6 o'clock, and that could fire the fire right through the town.
So what's happened at 6 o'clock, it's all just like calmed down. There is no winds. It's very, very still, but there's lightning and thunder, which is just as bad. Yeah, just as bad. So yeah, not good. My son, my daughter's eldest, is also a CFA volunteer, but he's also trained in the search and rescue, and he trains the people that do the search and rescue. So yeah, all that sort of shit. What have we got? My son used to work for the forestry. It was awful. He'd come home. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So often when there's bushfires too, they sometimes the fire can melt the actual pipe work that, for the water that is actually for the locals. So that's why we use the trucks and the helicopters, because you can't rely on the local water supply, basically. Slap that like, but yes, correct. All right, shout out done. So basically, what I decided to do, let me remove that off there, go back up here, was I tried to, I was actually under the opinion that the Karen Reid, or the allocated Karen Reid, Free Karen Reid movement, had labelled the case a conspiracy. That's the way it came across to me, because it was always being referred to as a conspiracy. Whereas, in my opinion, it was about the police corruption and how that affected the case. And I didn't put a great deal of thought into it until just recently. And the actual impact of that label of a conspiracy had a massive, massive impact on how the trial played out, and how the strategies of both teams, both the defence and prosecution, had to work their way around it. Now, hey Lizzie, how you doing? Welcome. Kelly is Liz is on her hubby's phone. I know it's confusing. And Udahef is under the pseudonym of what's this one he has in here? Music by Brian 2024. Righto. There he is, speak of the devil. So I thought I'd just do a basic definition to start with, because it was, as I said, it was my impression that the label of conspiracy was actually done by the Free Karen Reids, or anyone who believed that she was innocent. But in fact, it wasn't. Not even close. It was actually done by D.A. Morrissey. And he did that in his, you remember the press conference he did, like the speech he did on his own prior to the first trial, saying, this is the first time I've never ever had to do this and make this statement and rah, rah, rah. It was there. That conspiracy label basically got attached. I bet Kevin was saying, wait, what? I don't see a Liz. Yeah. Yes. And by doing that, it flipped it. It flipped the whole script. So let's just miscuse it.
Karen Reed was framed. Her car never struck John O'Keefe. She did not cause his death. And that means that somebody else did.
All right. So let's go back to the different. That one. That'll do. All right. So when I watched that again, oh, hey, Brandy, how you doing? Welcome. I need to watch some things about this. We had so much going on. Well, yes, absolutely. This is probably not the not the best place to start, but that's all right. Yeah, at least you'll have a heads up as to what's going on. So the corruption in law enforcement, it refers to the unethical behaviour of law enforcement officials and includes the usuals, bribery, extortion, selective enforcement, which I would say, leaving a crime scene open, not calling the crime scene investigators in, that sort of stuff. Manipulating evidence, well, that speaks for itself, pretty much. And pretty much any misconduct that undermines the public trust and the integrity of law enforcement and their institutions. So the reason I played that Yannetti clip was because that shows that wasn't labelled a conspiracy. He called it her being framed, which indicates to me more corruption than conspiracy, because conspiracy, as per the Cambridge Academic Dictionary, or Cambridge University, is a secret plan made by two or more people to do something bad, illegal, or against someone's wishes. Now, who the fuck is she going to conspire with? That shows that conspiracy has to have a prior, has to have prior organizational. So, to me, if you're intending on unaliving someone, there are fucking 101,001 better ways to do it than reversing into someone in the fucking snow. Yeah? Just saying. Just saying. So, what a conspiracy defense, though, has another different connotation again, because they're claiming that they are innocent but were part of a larger plot or scheme that was often orchestrated by powerful individuals. And so that has different outcomes as well, because they're it can range from, all sorts of crime groups and government agencies. But the other way that impacts a trial is by shifting the focus away from the evidence and onto the conspiracy itself, which is what happened here. Okay, we actually focused on the conspiracy because of the lack of evidence, and apparently it's quite a common thing that prosecutors will do, because the connotations that are associated with the label of conspiracy often are attached to crackpots and crazy people and far extremists. That's some of the things that come up naturally in someone's head when you say that word. So the fact that it wasn't labelled by her team is a huge, because I honestly thought it was. But no. But that in saying that too, the fact that it was deliberately done by DA Morrissey, it completely inverted the narrative, 100%. So instead of the woman alleging that she was framed because she was accused of fabricating a frame-up story, it became more about the protected law enforcement. It protected law enforcement from accountability. It created new criminal charges against her, being the witness intimidation. It delegitimized her defense completely. It generated additional civil liability, and it basically became both a shield for the institution and a sword for her. So it was actually detrimental for her for that label to be attached. What have I got next? Okay. So besides the potential harm to the justice system, the use of the conspiracy theories at trial can also negatively impact the lives of those who genuinely believe in them. These individuals may be labelled as crazy or delusional by society, making it challenging for them to get the support that they need. And it can also propagate harmful and baseless ideas, leading to the spread of misinformation. Now, when I was going back, I did go back and watch a few different scenes and different parts of the trial that I remembered sort of played into this. And once I got my head around the whole theory of the narrative, the shift of the burden to the defense, it was almost like it was playing out in real time. It was like if you looked up conspiracy theory prosecution trial strategy in the dictionary, that was Hank, along with his own adaptation on his questioning, which we will go through. But in doing my research and stuff, it's not an uncommon thing for prosecutors to do, because it widens their scope and it shifts the burden completely. And it's very often used when there is very little evidence, hard evidence, to work with, because it broadens that scope, and the defendant has to defend pretty much the lot. All right, so when the Norfolk County DA, Michael Morrissey, publicly stated that the idea of law enforcement being joined in or taken in by a vast conspiracy should be seen for what it is, completely contrary to the evidence and a desperate attempt to reassign the guilt. But in saying that, he accomplished something strategically profound. He took the word conspiracy, which could have been described as, alleged police misconduct, but instead he attached it to Karen Reid herself. That then, the suspicion shifted from the state misconduct to the defendant coordination. Karen Reid went from the potential victim of institutional failure to the alleged perpetrator of witness intimidation. The fundamental burden of proof was effectively reversed in the court of public opinion and arguably in prosecutorial strategy. Actions that would normally be protected, like speech, proclaiming innocence, speaking to the media, having supporters, then became evidence of a criminal conspiracy. By attaching that label, the prosecution transformed Karen Reid's defense strategy into a separate crime. Defending herself aggressively became prosecutable conduct. Every legitimate challenge to investigative integrity could be reframed as part of her conspiracy. The most vigorous she defended herself, and the more it appeared to confirm the prosecution's characteristics. Her constitutional right to defend herself publicly was weaponized against her, and the more she fought, the more criminal exposure she accumulated. Public sympathy that might have accrued to someone alleging police misconduct was undermined by portraying her as a manipulative defendant, attacking grieving families and honest officers. So there. So to give you an idea on how, what's my next slide on here? Hang on how the burden shifted from one to the other and what impact that had. That's done. Next one. Okay. So under the the corruption framing, why Trooper Proctor? Oh, the prosecution had to bear the burden of explaining why Proctor sent those biased, prejudiced text messages, why the crime scene wasn't immediately secured, why the evidence appeared after multiple searches, and witness statements evolved over time. Once it was under the, the conspiracy framing, Karen then had to disprove that her association with Aiden, she had to disprove associations with Aiden, explain every communications, account for the proximity to anyone who publicly supported her, and defend her right to proclaim innocence as something other than witness intimidation. What it also did before the label, it was Karen Reid's defence alleged a cover-up by police and witnesses. After the label, Karen Reid was positioned as the fabricator of a false conspiracy. Before the label, law enforcement faced scrutiny for investigative failures. After, law enforcement became investigators of her alleged disinformation. You see how it flips? The question was, did police corrupt this investigation before the label? Afterwards, the question became, is Karen Reid orchestrating a smear campaign? Now, that to me just sums up the entire fucking trial. Karen Reid is orchestrating a smear campaign. How many times did we hear that in the trial? So the way that also having that conspiracy label, it expanded the scope for investigators to get search warrants for a broader range of things, the phone, the whole lot. So next one. Stop it. I should have labelled these because I can't remember what's coming up next. Oh, yes. I just wanted to say that, like, when I started the Karen Reid, the first trial, by the time I had made up my own opinion about that Karen Reid's guilt or innocence was early on in the first trial, and in fact I had a third-party culprit defence with Colin Albert, Brian Higgins, and Brian Albert in the basement with the dog. So that was before I'd even heard about Aidan Carney, and I never watched him at all during the first trial. So there are creators out there that have done their own independent research and made their own opinions up using their own knowledge and experience without external influences. That's all I was saying there. Next. Ready, please? Oh, okay. Now, I pulled this up because I wanted to highlight the limited amount of evidence that was used by Michael Proctor to determine not only who, but how and what and why and when. So this is him testifying on why he believed that Karen Reid not only reversed into John and was guilty of this, but how he determined that happened. And enough to go straight from the hospital directly to Dighton, where she was at her parents', to collect her car and her phone without any further investigation. How he even knew there was something wrong with her taillight or that she could have been a suspect, yep, that will probably come out in the phone records in the civil case, no doubt. So this is his explanation why he thinks she did it.
There's just no evidence that Mr. L was involved anyway. Like I said before, from witness interviews, the statements Ms. Reid provided to witnesses, the one shoe left at the scene, the taillight pieces found underneath the snow.
Right. So he's saying these are the reasons that he arrested her. But all of this happened way later. Way later. This hadn't happened when he went from the hospital to Dighton. No. There was no talk of taillight pieces. There was no talk of... It's like, hello? Comments that were made, the alleged comments that were made, that were spun to be used against, that evolved over the two trials. So he's giving this excuse, down the track, but he's not using the actual information that he was given or he had available to him at that time.
That were dug out by the CERT team, the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe, the one shoe at the hospital that was observed.
What the fuck does that mean?
Her
One
statements
shoe.
to us, Sergeant Mechanic and I, while we interviewed her, clearly the broken taillight, and the fact that leaving Brockton, instead of going to Dighton, she backtracked to go to Canton to retrieve her vehicle and then go double back.
Oh, well, then lock her up. She's fucking guilty. How dare she backtrack? Really? Really?
Back to go to Dighton, which I found odd.
Ha. Pause for next video.
The system has let us.
Okay. Yep. All right. So, I just want to touch on how it delegitimized her defense, basically. So, the defense's argument was that the investigation was biased, whereas now with the new conspiracy label, that she's fabricating conspiracy theories. The defense's argument was that the evidence was mishandled, which it was, and the conspiracy label neutralized that she's spreading disinformation. Witnesses that have conflicts of interest became witnesses that she was intimidating, and the fact that Trooper Proctor was prejudiced became the fact she is attacking law enforcement to escape justice. Now, that was definitely proven wrong anyway, but that's how the facts get flipped, and the public perception as well. So the moral positioning, particularly with the O'Keefe family, became victims twice over, first for his death and then because of Karen's alleged harassment campaign. Now, they were fully suckered into the McAlbert's manipulation, 100%. And even if they did now even have a shred of doubt about Karen's guilt or innocence, they couldn't come out because they're too deep in it. Does that make sense? They couldn't. Yeah, they're too deep in now. They couldn't change. So where is it? The media narrative also, the coverage shifted from was the investigation corrupt to is Karen Reid running a disinformation operation, basically, which, yeah. So the plaintiff alleged that Karen Reid calculatedly and maliciously fabricated a conspiracy knowing that she was responsible. Right, okay. And publicly communicated this false narrative, thereby denying justice for JJ. So now that the trial was finished and she was acquitted, the O'Keefe family now feel doubly not ripped off, but they feel that the justice for JJ still hasn't been achieved, and they're even more keen to prove that. So hence the civil suits. But the McAlberts also know exactly how that makes the O'Keefe's family feel. So they capitalize on that. Immediately capitalize on that. They want themselves to be seen as the victims. That's part of the conspiracy, you know. She's made up all this bullshit. We're just little, you know, we were just there. We were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Bullshit. Okay? So now, with that in mind, let's have a listen to their interview straight after that trial. Straight after. Strategic, massive.
Down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
Because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did that civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it. I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house. John was already gone. There was nobody to save.
Yeah. There was nobody to save. Sure. Okay. Now this is this one I found really amusing putting together. Because watching Hank, like, he infuriated me to no end, absolutely no end. And if you remember me when we were actually streaming the trial, his questioning of Daniel Wolf in the second, sort of at Wardier, or he called him in anyway and interrogated him basically. And I was watching the way that he questions the witnesses, okay? So basically he starts off with, you know, the random, the usual basic stuff that is easy. You know, you're a medical professional. Yes. You've done this much experience. Yes. Blah, 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 blah. But then he shifts and he starts, I'll play this and you'll understand more. It was what? Oh, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes. So this actual cross-examination of Dr. Laposada really shows his questioning style and what he does to deflect away from the lack of evidence. Okay. I think the only thing he brings up in this is the hair. That's it. So if you're a prosecutor and you don't have the evidence and you don't have another alternate theory, then your only option is to discredit the witness. So let's have a look. It's textbook, absolute textbook.
And in this case, you talked about your opinions of injury relative to
Hey, Stibby, how you doing?
Motor vehicle, didn't you?
That was something I considered.
It's something you considered. Did you know much about the details of the motor vehicle in this case?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you were surprised by that answer. Did you know much about the details of the vehicle in this case? Right. So he's established his questions, he's established his base, and now he's going to hone in. What he does is he finds something, a niche that only that sort of expert knows about and not so much the general public, and makes questions that don't make sense but are not easily detected unless you know the specifics that expert knows. So give it, like, I picked it up only because I've got a medical background. The questions he were asking were completely ridiculous. And they could easily be disregarded by a juror if they didn't comprehend them. Oh, so I've missed my question. Sorry. Let me go back.
Details.
Basically, what I said is that he would ask something confusing, like if you asked a mechanic if photosynthesis had any impact on vehicle performance, like, that's how ridiculous they are. But if you didn't know about what a mechanic did, you wouldn't know that photosynthesis wouldn't impact it.
Vehicle in this
That
case?
makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So go. All right. So once he establishes that topic, then he'll badger the witness with it. Like beat a dead horse. In other words, did you check that the oil while the sun was still shining? Was the leaf obscured at any time during the day that could cause the brakes to fail? Just ridiculous. Oh, yes. Did you research it? Why didn't you? Did you not think that was important enough? Like, no, it's completely irrelevant.
Sorry?
I did not look at any DNA.
Do you know if there was any hair on the vehicle?
Mm-hmm. What did
I don't know.
Did you consider the scene itself where there may have been a debris field?
Oh, my God.
The debris field in this case?
He's doing the same thing. Why would a medical expert have any interest in a debris field? It's totally irrelevant. Totally.
Of various pieces of plastic around the area where the body was found.
And do you remember where those pieces were found?
Doesn't matter. Makes no difference.
Did you have an opportunity to consider other evidence like a shoe?
Did you take the time to consider other evidence like a shoe? The fuck? Do you see the insinuation of her incompetence coming? Whereas it's not actually asking about the evidence that proved that he was hit by a car. Yeah? Not one bit. We've mentioned the hair. That's the only thing.
She's not a reconstructionist, dickhead.
I know one shoe was on his foot at the hospital, the other was at the scene.
Yeah, what did you do?
Do you know if his hat stayed with him after he landed on the ground?
See?
The hat was in the area where his body was found.
Did you take a look at his pants, the back of his pants?
I looked at that, yes.
Okay, what did you see when you saw the back of his pants?
Well, because he had bled from the back of his injury, and he was
doesn't fucking matter which shoe. It doesn't. It didn't cause his death.
So some of the blood
was on the back of his pants.
Did you see anything else other than blood on the back of his pants?
I don't remember.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember if I saw anything else.
Fuck yeah, started again. Yes, correct. But also, they picked up all of his belongings and all of his clothing from the floor of the hospital, which is it was the most sanitary hospital in the world, and put them into the footwell of Buchanan's rear compartment seat, which could have had any kind of DNA. Could have had anything. And yes, dickhead here has go back to the
of various pieces of plastic around the area where the body was found.
And do you remember where those pieces were found?
Somewhat, yes.
Did you have an opportunity to consider other evidence like a shoe?
She's not a reconstructionist,
dickhead. I know one shoe was on his foot at the hospital, the other was at the scene.
Do you know if his hat stayed with him after he landed on the ground?
The hat was in the area where his body was found.
Did you take a look at his pants, the back of his pants?
I looked at that, yes.
Okay, what did you see when you saw the back of his pants?
Well, because he had bled from the back of his injury, and he was on a hospital gurney, some of that blood came down, so some of the blood was on the back of his pants.
Did you see anything else other than blood on the back of his pants?
I don't.
Actually, one thing we still haven't established or have really identified how the vomit was only on his jeans and his boxers, not on his front, not on his top. That to me says that he had to have been in a semi-upright position to have missed going down the front of him.
Remember.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember if I saw anything else.
Did you look, when you were doing your differential diagnosis, did you look at any evidence other than physical evidence? Did you look at any data evidence?
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean, data.
Like data you would find on a cell phone.
Mm-hmm. So, medical expert would be interested in cell phone data. Why? Why the fuck would you be interested in that? It's got nothing to fucking do with her. She's not a fucking, she doesn't work for Celebrite. Like, totally irrelevant. We have picked on one fact, the hair. That's all he's mentioned. The rest is circumstantial, mumbo-jumbo bullshit.
No.
Did you look at any of the data evidence from the defendant's Lexus?
No.
No, other than looking at the contours of the back to see if it had impacted Mr. O'Keefe.
When you were doing differential diagnosis, did you look at any information that would tell you what the speed of that impact may have been?
That's what he does, see?
The speed.
Well, it didn't hit him.
That's what he does. He asks stupid questions that he knows darn well is totally outside of the scope of that witness. And so they end up looking like a dickhead. Because they can't seem to answer him, or they get confused, or they look like they're...
Tell it like it is, Jody.
Like, that's what he does. That's the... When you haven't got a case, you must create one. Yeah?
Didn't care to know
Just wait till
anything about the car, the data in the car, because you had already formed your opinion?
It did not hit him, so it was not relevant to
let me repeat that.
You must create one.
Let me repeat what Hank says here.
Didn't care to know?
Just wait till
You didn't care to know anything about the car data before you made your opinion. Yeah, dickhead. Correct. But he spins it to make it look like she's incompetent or she hasn't truly researched the entirety of the case. Yeah? Like it's
the data in the car, because you had already formed your opinion?
It did not hit him, so it was not relevant to my opinion. By looking at the body, I could tell that there was no evidence of impact with the vehicle.
Correct.
So whether the vehicle was going slow or fast is
what does it fucking matter?
Totally irrelevant to you?
Correct.
And did you also disregard? Well, let me ask you, do you ever look at statements?
I look at witness statements if they're available to me.
Were any of the defendants' statements made available to you?
I did hear some of them.
So we've still only discussed the hair. This is the defense's medical expert. How do you explain the marks on John's arm, doctor? Please explain them. How do you explain the impact to his head, doctor? They're the two things. The impact to his head is what killed him. And we haven't touched on it. Not once. Not once.
Did you consider the ones that you heard?
Of course.
Oh. Which ones did you hear?
Hey, Ted.
I really can't answer that. I don't know what you'd have to give me an example.
As I was saying, sorry, before, when he did the put out of Dr. Wolf in the second trial, I was streaming that live, and I actually stopped it halfway through that voir dire because I was hurling abuse at the screen. I actually demonetized my stream right then and there, and I snipped out the worst potty language and made it a members only stream. I might have to go back and play that one day. That was fucking funny.
You said that when Mr.
I lost my shit.
Was first incurred his injury, you think that he was unconscious?
Yes, I think that the severity of the impact made him immediately unconscious.
Oh, we've touched the head wound now. Oh, we've lost sound. No.
Is it your opinion that he never moved again until he was moved physically by somebody else?
Well, I don't know the exact time that he got the injury on the back of the head, but after that time, he could not carry out any purposeful activity.
Nope. Yes, so that's his other mode, okay? He hasn't been able to effectively discredit her. Yeah, he's not happy with that. So plan B. Let's go and have a sidebar and ask Auntie Bev if I can present something else, because I found some skeletons from 20 years before.
All right, so Mr. Brennan, if you can briefly tell me what it is you want to introduce through this witness.
Oh, look at that. straight up to the point. Let's go.
Remind the court on direct examination, the defense promoted
Now,
Dr. Lapasada.
also, watch his behaviour. He's spitting verbal vomit whilst constantly flipping through this paperwork, making him look like he's got evidence to prove one thing or another. Like, there may well be truth to any of the stuff that he's got in this, but it's completely fucking irrelevant.
Credentials, including specifying her successes with the station nightclub fire and her running of her office. We have an audit from 2005, State Department of Rhode Island, Department of Health. In that audit, it paints a very different picture than was presented on direct examination.
Yeah, and there was an audit in how long ago?
So, Mr. Brennan, if you...
Her running of her office. We have an audit from 2005.
2005, there you go, 20 years prior, an audit. And it was all about her not attending the crime scene when she had clearly answered the questions that her investigator was at the crime scene and was relaying all the information to her. So she was back at the where she works and organising enough staff because it was a mass event that had happened. Like, a lot of people had been killed, and so she had to then organise that everyone needed to have an autopsy. She had to organise staff. She had to organise a whole heap of stuff. So she was running the background stuff, but her investigator was there on her behalf. Yep. That's right. Yes, that's right. Yes. All right, I have not even bothered to, I haven't even looked at chat. Sorry. I've not been paying attention. How fast was the plane going overhead? Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She had a pretty nasty history. She did the same type of thing when her client was a child abuser. She claimed the kid died by falling off a bed. Right. I haven't heard or seen anything about that, but it's not really got anything to do with the case. Please explain why you're a dipshit, Hank. Yes, me either. She actually has a funny, like, I don't know whether she had some kind of breathing disorder because she mouth breathed a lot, and it was unusual. It wasn't a natural, normal breathing style, I didn't think anyway. But I don't know what her medical history is like. What was this? Who's Dr. Michael Lapasada? Elizabeth Lapasada did the station night. Yes, that's the one. Yes, that's the audit that Hank was referring to from 20 years prior. Yeah. So I just sort of used that as an example of he did, if you go back and watch his line of questioning with every one of the defense experts, it's the same thing. Exactly the same mode operandi. The whole lot. In fact, I probably, you know what we should do? We should watch, because this also compounded for me, was his closing arguments. Now, let's see if I can find my closing arguments, because I separated them all. Give me 2 shakes. I wasn't actually going to include this, but I think I will. I think it's important. We can go back there. And there. There. Where's my videos? There we go. Actually, I probably should have got my playlist. Idiot. Playlist. Nope. Next. Oh, just insane. I just had a look at, do you remember Desi Freeman, I think it is, the guy that disappeared up at Puckapunyal, that was on the run, that's hidden away? That's where the bushfires are. He'll be smoked out if he's still there. I've got to go right back in my playlist because it's been a long time since. There it is. Karen Reid, complete coverage of Trial 1. Okay, there is the closing arguments. Day 30. Final day of testimony. Should be in there. Well, no, that goes right up to. No, it's not there. Go back, Jody. Go back. I thought I separated it. Mm-hmm. Six. What's that? Refractory. No. So it has to be day 31. Let me see. I'll put it in another playlist. Why would I have done that? I know I've actually broken up both trials to individual testimonies. Read 2.0. You watch, I won't be able to fucking find it now. If anyone has like the link to the trial channel maybe, or the closing arguments for trial 1, if anyone's got a link that'd be quicker than me looking for this. Yeah, the fuck it is. I would not have put it in anywhere else other than that fucking playlist. Okay, closing arguments. Karen Reid. Trial 1. Talk amongst yourselves, darling. Bit of elevator music. It's coming. I'll get there. Defense. No, I want prosecution. Okay, there we go. I got it. Now let's get to prosecution. Oh, fuck. It was trial 2, you dickhead. Ah. 2. Commonwealth's closing arguments. Okay. All right. So I want you to just watch and listen and see if Get rid of that. Remove. Okay, now I've got that. Yeah, have a listen to exactly how much evidentiary stuff that he uses. So how the wound was achieved, how that came about, and well, basically how that's how what killed him at the end of the day. That's the focus, how he achieved that, how you match up the weapon to the injury.
John O'Keefe was 46 years old. 46 years old. He spent his life helping people. He's described as a good man, kind, generous, thoughtful. He was a Boston police officer. He worked to help the community. Everything you've heard about this man, he was a good man.
Correct.
He helped people.
That's probably the only thing that Hank and I will agree on.
When his niece and nephew had nobody, he took them in. He took them in. John O'Keefe seemed to be the type of person who would help anybody at any time. And on January 29th, 2022, John O'Keefe needed some help. He needed help from somebody else.
And he was fucking let down.
John O'Keefe had just been hit by Karen Reed in front of 34 Fairview Road, and he lay on the ground dying. And he needed help. Someone to reach out a hand, someone to knock on a door, someone to make a phone call to 911, even anonymously.
Yep.
Not take responsibility, just to help. And there was only one person in this entire planet who could help him that morning, to give him a chance. Maybe it was a 33% chance if he met the Isaac Wolf of the world, but to give him a chance. And that one person who could help him that morning was this defendant right here, Karen Reed. And she made a decision. In her Lexus with the shattered taillight, debris field all over the front yard, and John O'Keefe lying helpless like a child on the front yard, she made a choice. She didn't call 911. She didn't run to his aid. She didn't knock on a door. She made a decision about herself. In her Lexus, she drove away.
Now that's all based on conspiracy theory. She made the decision.
She was drunk. She hit him, and she left him to die. She was drunk. She hit him,
and she
left him to die.
Say it 3 times. It has more
Before
impact.
I go through and detail the evidence, let's talk a little bit about the evidence as a whole. She was drunk. She was drinking that night. She was drinking McCarthy's with John. She was drinking at the waterfall. Her blood was taken with samples of a retrograde analysis, almost 2 to 3 times the legal limit. She was drunk. She hit him. The timeline in this case is beyond dispute. You can accuse, assault, characterize, malign, twist. The timeline doesn't change. It is data. Data is data. The black box.
Yeah. And she checked into one Meadows at the alleged time of the incident too. Yeah.
From the SD card, we know exactly step by step where they were. We know in that window she hits him because he never moves again. His healthcare data, the temperature on the battery of his cell phone, The physical evidence, the debris field, the DNA, the hair.
The DNA, the hair. The DNA, the hair. The DNA, the hair. I like how he makes it out like they're two separate things, because they ain't. Not one bit of DNA on any one of those debris field fucking bits of plastic. Not one.
Left him to die. He had a basal skull fracture, counter coup. You heard all about it.
Counter coup. Wrong. Contra coup, dickhead. Contra coup. Get it right.
Your head hits the ground and the brain comes forward. Dr. Wolf told us the reason why they have level 1 trauma centers around the country is because people can survive this injury if they get help.
No.
That's why they have this care. That's why they have these hospitals. But you got to get help. You got to get help. And if you don't, you develop symptoms, ecchymosis, raccoon eyes, your brain swells, and you die. She was drunk. And that night was a recipe for disaster. But before we get to the drinking, in some ways, the fate of this night was sealed well before that night, because John O'Keefe and Karen Reed were in a toxic relationship.
Right.
This relationship was crumbling. We hear lovey-dovey, and it was crumbling, and we know it. And we know it because a month before, his niece Kaylee talks about when they went to Aruba. It should have been a wonderful event. It was discord.
All right, so
it was fighting.
We're 5 minutes into his closing argument, and he's capped his evidentiary quantity. There's nothing left for him. So now we're going to use the highly emotive, the circumstantial, the fluff, to build it out.
It was aggravation, and when they got back, the discontent was palpable. Miss Reed reaches out to Brian Higgins, text messaging. John O'Keefe, the relationship is crumbling. And you heard a little bit about what that relationship was like. Kaylee, his niece, told you, when there was an argument, John would do what John does. He would walk away. She described to you one time, to get away from the scene, he walked into his bedroom, but the defendant wouldn't let it go, pounding on his door, having to get the last word, never letting go of the fight. Kind of mirrors what happens on January 29, 2022.
Really?
And maybe outward appearance, they got along. Maybe sometimes quietly they got along. But behind closed doors, relationships have up and downs. We have a bird's eye view into the relationship.
Doesn't make her a killer.
2022, because we have the text messages. Not so lovey-dovey. The relationship is almost over.
Doesn't make her a killer.
The tensions are simmering beneath the surface.
Doesn't make her a killer.
They are not getting along. She believes Mr. Keefe is already halfway out of the relationship and he's not into it anymore. You will read them, you saw them. This relationship was unstable and at its end. And so fast forward that night. That night, after this discord, after the arguing, they go out and what do? They drink. And they drink a lot. So he drinks a lot and Karen Reed drinks a lot.
Doesn't make her a murderer.
You've seen the McCarthy videos. You can call it 6, 7, 8, whatever you want to call it. You can see the shots into the next drinks. More shots into mixed drinks. Count them yourself. Over a half dozen mixed drinks in just a few hours. Sober? And then at the waterfall, a shot, a mixed drink. Now,
I'm gonna
it
speed
was
this
brought
up.
up the waterfall that there was some type of discord between Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe. They knew each other. They were friends. Brian Higgins' conduct of speaking to Karen Reed is not honorable. It's not. But they were friendly. There was no adversarial relationship. There was no anger between them. What we heard is they barely greeted each other. Can we have slide 1, please? At the waterfall bar, when you see John O'Keefe come in, here's him barely greeting him. That's him. and Mr. Higgins, barely greeting each other. Reality sometimes is different than argument. This is a celebratory move. Take that down, please. Celebratory move. A bunch of friends. They're playing around. They're hugging. They're grappling. This is a fighting technique for a murder 2 hours later. Is that the story? They're practicing their moves to murder John O'Keefe.
Conspiracy.
In the celebratory mood, you don't see any aggravation or animus.
None of this has anything to do with how he died. Like, this is not what caused his death.
Between Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe. Inevitably, the next morning, Karen Reed is brought to the hospital and they take her blood. Now, the government doesn't have to prove that she was drunk. It is either that she's over the legal limit, 0.08, or she had enough alcohol to affect her ability to operate a motor vehicle safely, but you will know that she was far beyond the legal limit. After the retrograde analysis, almost 2 to 3 times the legal limit. Almost 2 to 3 times the legal limit. Now,
actually, I don't know if you all recall, but I did a bit of analysis on John's vitals at the hospital. His blood alcohol was really high, like huge, and the level that he had indicated that he would definitely show signs of intoxication, including difficulties like slurred speech and staggering, like balance, coordination stuff. But nobody touched on that.
Intimated, not come out and said that maybe she went home and started drinking after she got home.
Oh, no, she probably did.
No evidence.
I would have.
And that somehow that is why she had a high blood alcohol level. It's not appropriate for me to comment on the credibility of another attorney's argument, so I won't do that. But Karen Reed will do that for her. So if we listen to slide 2, she'll tell you exactly what she thinks about that claim.
We're still not connecting the car to the injury.
Alcohol intakes, probably about 5 or 6 or 4. The drinks that they reported at McCarthy's, which is where it consumed most of the alcohol, was the weakest at the time. It tasted just like all soda water with blue lime.
Slide 3, please.
Guilty, right there. Guilty.
I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway. I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway at 12:29. And it was quiet. The roads were very quiet. You can see on the videos. And I was going, when I had to drinks, I drive. I was very extra slow. And I know my alerts aren't as sharp as they should be. But I shouldn't be driving.
Thank you. Do you think she drank when she got home? When they leave the Waterfall Bar at 12:12, you see a video, you have it in evidence. There's a still photo of John O'Keefe holding a glass, not from the Albert's home. He didn't sneak into the house in the cupboards and grab a glass. From the waterfall, you see him with a glass, and in it is a straw. Take a look at that picture. And now from 12:12 on, we virtually have a historian in the data that tells us exactly where he went, exactly step by step where he went. And how do we have that? Well, we know the defendant's car had like a black box, and Dr. Judd Welcher took that data from the black box and downloaded it so you can see the movements and the triggering events. And then Shannon Burgess, well, if you don't like what he says, don't attack the data, attack the man. He can be mocked for his LinkedIn profile or his unupdated CV.
Oh, he's lying. You mean let's just minimize that. Let's just minimize that. He lied about his expert credentials. Yeah. Because those 2 dickheads were the only people that you could find that had the nous, you could pay enough for them to compromise their fucking principles.
Critical piece of this case that did not exist before. He found it recently. And it was that SD card. The SD card that everybody missed, including the defense expert. Everybody missed it. So as much as you want to make fun of him, Shannon Welcher found the key so that we could have the time and date and location coordinated for an impenetrable timeline that can't be broken. That's what Shannon Burgess did. And so we know on the way from the waterfall to 34 Fairview, Ms. Reed is driving drunk. Mr. O'Keefe is in the passenger side of the car, and they're heading their way to 34 Fairview, and they get lost. And now we have more data because John O'Keefe has a cell phone. And I said it at the beginning, it is a historian. It doesn't suffer from bias, it doesn't suffer from prejudice, it doesn't suffer from memory loss. It has data on it. And he puts on Waze, high location data, as Ian Whiff would say. And it tells you second by second the speed, the location, the movement. That's what it does. And he has healthcare data on that phone. The healthcare data separately shows his movement. And that is critical. It is critical because it not only shows his movement, it shows when he does not move. That healthcare data is critical. Move. And it's not subject to bias. It's not in dispute. There's no other contrary evidence. It is data. On the way to 34 Fairview, alcohol fuels tension. We know that. And we know from those text messages the tension in that relationship. And then there's a trigger. There is a trigger on the way because they're lost. And when John O'Keefe calls Jen McCabe for directions, Jen McCabe says something that triggers what's going to happen next.
Oh, really?
Slide 4, please.
Very close to the Alberts. In fact, when Jen was navigating John to the Alberts when I was driving, she said it's near Ashley's house. Ashley and John were hooked up prior to John and I dating.
And so as they travel to 34 Fairview, under the duress of this crumbling relationship, fueled by intoxication, we have triggers. Now, we know on their way there, we know from the data, where they went, how they moved. If we look at slide 5.
I don't know what trial you guys are talking about, but listening to like what you're saying that her testimony was, Dr. Lapasada, telling the jury that there was injuries from him falling out of bed, or could have been from falling out of bed. Is that right? So in saying that, both of those things can be true in the same context. So he could have had injuries that were caused by falling out of bed. He could have had injuries. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Like the way I haven't seen it because I haven't seen the way they framed the question, but you know, the definitive she may have been giving that yes, it could have been done by blunt force, or it also could have been done, it could have been reasonably foreseeable to have been injured in falling out of a bed as well. So the two can be true at the same time. And also saying that I disagree with the whole experts are hired guns, basically, because every single one of those people at trial gets paid to do what they do. If you've got the information and the knowledge that you can share an opinion on that, then you're entitled to be paid for it. So you can't, if you're going to say that every defense expert is a hired gun, then that defeats the whole purpose of the justice system, because they're there in every trial. But also, what do you call Hank? Yeah, he was paid over $500,000 to come in and do this when they had plenty of other people. Plenty. So, yeah.
Ian Whiffen showed you a guide. You could enlarge that a little, please. And it shows you with the healthcare data, it registers as flights climb, but it doesn't mean someone's climbing upstairs. What it means is there's an elevation, and he breaks down the data, the red, the green, if you can move down, please, go ahead.
I didn't believe what she said was because she was a doctor. I believed it because I understood where she was coming from, and I recognized the differences. Like, yeah.
That's 34 Fairview. You can see second by second the circles of their route, even the 3-point turn on Cedar Crest. That's what you see. At that point, they've left the bar. Remember, the battery temperature was 82
so
degrees.
We're 16 minutes in, and we're talking about 3-point turns now. No other fucking evidence to connect the vehicular strike.
Now in a car, it's now 77 degrees. Think about how accurate the battery temperature is, that it reflects the difference between being in a bar and being in a car. They take a 3-point turn at Cedar Crest. And because of Shannon Burgess and because of Judd Walter, we have the data and it's a triggering event. Remember, if there's an acceleration past 30%, it registers data on the car, and that's exactly what happens. There's a 3-point turn, and it all lines up with the cell phone after you synchronize the times. It's that simple. It's nothing complicated. There's nothing tricky. There's nothing devious about it. It's data. They do the 3-point turn, and you can match the cell phone clock with the Lexus clock, and when you do, you can reconcile the difference. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of argument, a lot of fights. Shannon Burgess says 21 to 29 seconds. Mr. DeSorter comes in. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to actually do anything. He wasn't given the invitation to test the data. He just looked at the report and made criticisms like a Monday morning quarterback. But even he, looking at the data, says, well, it's 3 seconds off or 2 seconds. Same window, same time. We can have all the arguments we want. They're there. They're together. The data matches up perfectly. Perfectly. And so they make their way down to 34 Fairview Road. They don't stop. They don't stop at the driveway. They don't stop, and John O'Keefe gets out of the car. They go to the flagpole, and we know for 2 reasons. One, the data. And secondly, Mr. Nagel and Ms. Mason at Cedar Crest, at that intersection before it goes down to the right, they meet. They let Karen Reed go first. They fall behind in the truck. Now, at this point, Mr. O'Keefe has about 8 more minutes before the beginning of the end of his life. And he's in that car. He's in that car for most of it because Ms. Mason and Mr. Nagel don't see anybody get out of the truck. Nobody crosses the lawn. Nobody goes to a garage. Not just because they didn't see it. And they didn't. Not because they didn't see it. Because the healthcare data on the phone shows that John O'Keefe is not moving. The car is stopped at the flagpole. The healthcare data stops. The battery stays at 77 degrees. The data is the data. You can't change it as much as you want to. It's data. And they sit at that flagpole for minutes.
What about Ryan Nagel? Is that data on a cell phone that you say, doesn't matter, you can argue 2 seconds here, 10 minutes there, it's all the same, the data is data, it doesn't lie. What about eyes? Yeah? Witnesses.
12, 24, 33 when they get there, they're there past 12:30. Remember, Ms. Mason and Ms. Nagel said they're there about 5 minutes and then they go. It's not exact, but about 5 minutes, they said. So there's about 2 minutes left for John O'Keefe. And what are they doing in those 2 minutes? What are the last 2 minutes of his life that he can remember that would be open to him? They're arguing.
This was my lead-in because my next one, I'm going to go through every single fucking exhibit, every single one, to see which ones were in their original capacity prior to the trial.
They're arguing. And we know they're arguing because Ms. Reed tells us through first responder Becker. She was sad. Remember, he sees her in the back of the ambulance and he's trying to calm her down. She was sad because her last moments were arguing.
Has he got me to beyond a reasonable doubt that there was a vehicular strike yet? Fuck no. This is all circumstantial. This is all fucking speculation. It is all bullshit.
They're in an argument. That's why they're not going in the house. But John O'Keefe decides to get out of the car, and we know because the dome light goes on. That's what happens when you open a door. Whether he's bent down, he's standing outside, or on the other side,
it was empty.
The dome light is on. And then you see the data. John O'Keefe begins to move. 12:31:56. It's the first time he has moved since they got to the flagpole, and it will be the last time he moves in his life.
On the 36 steps.
And he moves in 20 seconds. Ian Whiffen said that the satellites, they move, they reconnect, they pull information. He's no longer on high-frequency data because waves are shut off. Now it's more random. It's low frequency. We would never suggest, and Mr. Whiffen did not claim, based on location data alone at that point, you can tell exactly what John O'Keefe is. What he said is it was readings all night. The bullet is always near the flagpole. That doesn't mean he was always near the flagpole. He could have moved. He could have moved in the circles, come back. Location data is consistent with him never leaving the flagpole. But that in itself is not enough. But there's more. There is more. There is the healthcare data. There is the temperature of the cell phone battery. And so he moves to 20 seconds. It turns west. It does not say he walks to the house. That's not what the data says. It doesn't say that he goes straight line and he walks over to the door. In fact, could he even get to the door in 75 feet? Could he get there? Because when the investigator for the defense testified, he measured
82 foot
from the driveway. He never stopped at the driveway. He never measures from the flagpole. He never measures from the flagpole to the garage door. So this fantasy.
No, else he didn't fucking measure. He didn't measure where the fucking body was found. He didn't measure where any of the fucking evidence was found. It wasn't documented. It wasn't mapped. Nothing.
that somehow he walked in the garage, even though there's no evidence, there's no witness, there's no data. 20 seconds of his life.
I like how he's...
And he moves.
20
seconds. Data registers his steps. It could be pacing. It could be a straight line. It could be shaking the phone.
It could be a fucking seizure, you know? Yeah, just saying.
No. We don't know. We don't know everything. We don't know every little detail and every little second. We don't have to. That's not doubt. That's not reasonable doubt.
No.
We know for that 20 seconds he's moving. And in that 20-second window, when he moves, he has his phone and he looks down, 12:32:09, he sees a text message from his friend, John McCabe. And he looks at the text message.
This is the bit that gets me, like that right there, like that. Ugh. Phone recognition, face recognition. Who the fuck held his phone up against his fucking dead face? Ugh.
And then it happens. We know from the uncontroverted data from that black box, we know that Karen Reed, after he gets out of the car, drives away. She drives for at least 33 feet away from him. He's back near the flagpole. She's gone. It's over. Whatever argument is over. Whatever anger and flame has been dispassion, she's moved on. He's separate from her. He's safe. And then she makes a decision. That's what this case is about. Then she makes a decision. She could have driven home. She could have broken up with him. They could have talked about it the next day. But like knocking on the door,
hello, Miss Angela, welcome.
Getting the last word. She doesn't drive away. She takes that 6,000-pound Lexus. And she
the 6,000-pound Lexus that is not it is not bound by the natures of gravity and the likes.
makes a decision. And the decision is that she steps on the gas.
Yeah. Step on it.
Into reverse.
Yes. Bang it in.
Before we talk about what happens next, I want to talk to you a little bit about the charges in this case. And I think the digress is important so we really understand what we're talking about here.
Yeah. We're trying to establish here that there was a vehicular strike, correct? You still haven't fucking answered any questions on that. None. How do you account for the fucking injuries, Hank? How?
I have no authority to talk about the law in this case. The Honorable Judge Cannoni will do that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the charges. Don't rely on my interpretation of the law. It's the judge who has that special power. But I want to explain to you a couple of things so when you think about what happens next, you can really assess the facts of this case with the charges against Miss Reed.
Yep.
She is charged with second-degree murder. It sounds ominous as it is. It's a serious charge, second-degree murder. When most people think murder, they think shooting or stabbing somebody. It's natural to think that. Second-degree murder is different. It's not first-degree murder. I told you at the beginning of this case, I told you that we were not going to suggest or try to prove that Miss Reed intended to kill John O'Keefe.
But that's the whole basis of a conspiracy theory, that there is intent, that it's planned with more than one person.
In this case, we're not claiming that. I told you that we were not ever going to try to prove that she even intended to hit him. We never suggested we would try to prove that, and we're not trying to prove that she intended to hit him. We're not.
No.
What we are obligated to prove, and what we have proven from the evidence in this case of second-degree murder, is that she intended an act, and that is putting the car into reverse.
He's proven intention. He's proven motive. Has he proven a fucking vehicular collision? No.
And heading back towards John O'Keefe. She intended that act. The question then becomes, did her conduct create a clear...
No, the question then becomes, did the fucking car hit him? That's the only question you need to fucking answer. None of this fucking mamby-pamby bullshit. None.
Strong likelihood of death. Late at night, dark, beginning to snow.
Drinking.
Under the influence of alcohol, knowing where she stopped and left him after an argument.
Yeah.
Heading back in reverse.
That's it. You can't not get you.
Exact spot right near where she left him.
Yep.
At over 24 miles per hour. Accelerating at over 75%. You need to ask yourself, are you convinced if somebody does that create a plain and strong likelihood of death? And if there's no doubt in your mind that she intended to hit that accelerator in reverse, and that conduct would create a clear and plain likelihood of death.
That conduct could have created a clear likelihood of wheel spinning. That's it.
Then she is guilty of that crime. Whatever the label is, she would be guilty of that crime. Now,
correct.
Let me give you an analogy. If somebody, maybe a teenager, someone young, impulsive, is on a bridge and they see cars going by and they have a boulder and they want to throw the boulder off.
TikTok, Hank, 26 fucking minutes in.
They're not looking to hurt anybody. They're not meaning to kill anybody, but they throw the boulder off the bridge because they want to see the car break, the thrill. And when they throw that boulder off the bridge and it comes down and lands on the car and there's somebody, passenger, child, anybody in that car, and it then goes through the roof and kills the person in the car.
Yeah, and those people in the car will have injuries that actually show that are equal to having a boulder hit them from above. Yeah, just saying. Your analogy is full shit.
Did they intend to kill that person? No, they were trying to have a thrill throwing the rock. Did they have the malice to want that person dead? No, they didn't. But that would be an example of second-degree murder. When you take a boulder and throw it off a bridge, there's a plain and strong likelihood of death. When Karen Reed, in the midst of that tension and fight, after she drove away and was gone, disengaged, when she came back for the last word, in the darkness, the beginning of the snow,
she came back to the last word,
under the influence of alcohol, and decided to stop her Lexus, decided to put it in reverse, decided to accelerate 75% in the exact same direction of where she left him, and then hit him, and he died.
And then hit him and he died.
I suggest to you that is second
Case closed. Then she hit him and he died.
degree murder. The other charge, operating under the influence of alcohol, manslaughter. It's different. It's a totally different and separate charge. Was she under the influence of alcohol?
You've established that.
And then secondly, did she operate her Lexus wantonly and recklessly in a way that would very likely result in serious injury? When you're under the influence of alcohol and you drive a 6,000-pound Lexus in the heat of the moment at the direction of where somebody is, whether you
outside the gravity,
I submit to you that
gravitational
is
pull.
wanton. It is reckless. And any reasonable person would think it's very likely that serious injury would result. It's not a matter of
if they collided,
It's not a matter of intending to hit. It is the conduct of the operation and the risk that is created. And so those two charges are two of the three. The three is leaving the scene knowingly, causing death. And we'll get to that. So now, sadly, we need to get back to 34 Fairview Road where we left. We know from the tech stream data that you drove 33 feet at least, because it only picked up 10 seconds window. And when it starts to pick up the data, we know she's driving at a speed. So it's more than 33 feet. We just don't know. And then when she comes back, she comes at the 33 feet and 50 more. 80 feet, over 80 feet. Now, nobody has ever suggested, even Dr. Welcher, when she collided with them. This data doesn't tell you collision. It's a 6,000-pound Lexus. It's a 216-pound man. It's not going to show a blip. It could have been in that 10-second window. It could have been 2 seconds after. It could have been 4 seconds after. But it's in that pocket of time, and we know it. We know it because when you reconcile the data with the phone, that 20 seconds.
Now, that argument shouldn't be we reconcile it with the data on the phone because we know it. That data, that comment or that statement should be we know it because that pattern of injuries from the taillight is equivalent to what would be produced on John O'Keefe's arm. That should be his fucking argument right there. But no, it's about the data. The fucking data. The force, the actual force needed to break that taillight is greater than the force required to break a human bone. If they collided, one cannot be without the other. If the plastic or the whatever the polycarbonate, whatever it was, the material, because I looked it up, the pounds per square inch of pressure The force required to break that is greater than needed for a human bone. If they collided, the human bone has to break in order to cause the taillight to break. They cannot be separate.
Window of that 10-second window coming back. So even if it's a couple seconds later, 4 seconds later, whatever Mr. DeSorbo wants.
Please explain. Yes, I will have to add it to a sound.
John O'Keefe stops moving. Forever.
Well, you know, that's
slide 6, please.
That's where I'm educated.
You'll get to see this more closely. And you can probably see it where you're sitting, but there's
I actually
data.
did math.
Data doesn't lie.
For that.
And you will see acceleration, 75%. You will see speed, 24 miles per hour backwards.
Bullshitting on about this. How long?
You will see distance, over 80 feet. That's what you're going to see in this data on that night.
No.
Anger,
no,
although not necessary in any of these charges, anger can be inferred for somebody to come back that hard, that fast, that reckless, that obvious, likely to create a plain and strong likelihood of death. That data tells a story that can't be changed. It can't be attacked. ARCA, they did some crash tests on me. You know what else they do? Text stream data. There's nothing about that data that is uncertain. Nothing. Take that down, please. Ms. Reed hits John O'Keefe, collides with John O'Keefe.
Oh, collides.
John O'Keefe went in the air foot. We don't
Leaving
know if it was
lots and
how much
lots of
we don't know if
evidence.
he stumbled back, but we know there's a collision. There's no doubt there's a collision because her tail
No
is all
doubt.
over the yard. It's
What?
all over the yard. And when he falls back,
Really?
and he
It's
hits
all over the yard.
They do.
Hang on. It's all over the yard? Did you say? Did you say it's all over the yard? You know. Because, you know, there would be a transfer of some sort of DNA on those things that are all over the yard. Yes? Let me listen to that again.
Text stream data.
Yeah, I like how he just in one sentence tried to discredit the entire testimony of both ARCA experts. They do text stream data too, and they didn't consider it. They're fucking incompetent. You know, all the accident reconstruction shit they did, fuck it off, because they don't study text stream data.
There's nothing about that data that is uncertain. Nothing. Take that down, please.
Take that down, please.
When Ms. Reed hits John O'Keefe, O'Keefe, collides with John O'Keefe.
Yeah, we know it. Why?
We don't know if he went in the air foot. We don't know if it was how much of a clip it was. We don't know if he stumbled back. But we know there's a collision. There's no doubt.
There's no doubt.
Because her tail light's all over the yard.
Her tail light's all over the yard. Not in a debris field behind the collision where it would have flung had the gravitational forces been in place. But no, it flew backwards. Inertia kind of did a pirouette and threw it all over for weeks.
It's all over the yard.
There's no fucking evidence on it. Nothing.
It's the back of his head, his basal fracture. He's then lying there helpless. When Miss Reed leaves, she leaves behind tons of her tail light all over the yard. All over the yard. It's called the debris field. And you've seen videos. You can't replicate the exact contact. You can't because you would need where the person was hit, how fast the person was going, but you know what happened because when you look at the debris field, when a light is broken, it's no different than what was on the front yard. It's no different.
But it should have blood on it.
She leaves him behind. She leaves her taillight behind. She goes home. And on her way home, you know she's still angry. You know she's still angry because she starts leaving him voicemails. Slide 7, please. Healthcare starts at 12:31:56. 12:32:04 to 12:32:12 is the
You should have gotten Lisa Goosey. Lisa Goosey to do your timeline. Way better. Way better.
12:32:16 is his last steps. Because the disorder says that red range should move a little bit 2 or 3 seconds. They can move it 4 seconds, 5 seconds. It doesn't matter. It's all in the same window. It doesn't change. We can have slide 10, please. Can you play that, please? Thank you.
Oh, look, a car.
Each one of those pegs represents 10 feet. You can't place that car where it was in front of Fairview. You just can't. The
data doesn't tell you that, but that tells you the movements of that car.
Oh.
Now, as John O'Keefe sadly laid on the ground, abandoned, you're going to have to ask yourself a question for charge number 3, leaving scene, knowing somebody was injured and then died. You're going to have to ask yourself, is there evidence that Ms. Reed knew that she had hit him? Don't need to prove it for murder 2. Don't need to prove it for OUI manslaughter. But for the 3rd charge, Commonwealth has to prove beyond reasonable doubt she knew she hit him. We weren't there, but there was an eyewitness. There was a guide. And that eyewitness tells us that she knew. And that eyewitness is Karen Reed herself. She tells you that she knew. We have slide 8, please.
Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? How did that happen? I don't know what that could have been. It was howling wind. I had YouTube blasting on the stereo. And I thought, did he somehow try to flag me down, which was the reaction I was hoping to garner as I slowly pulled away from the house? Did he come out and maybe trip or bend over to pick up the cell phone and I ran over his foot and then passed out drunk? I mean, I didn't think I hit him, but could I have clipped him?
When she left Fairview and left John behind, she didn't think he was mortally wounded.
Oh my God.
She knew she hit him. And so when she made her way back home, not only did she leave debris field all over the front lawn, but she took evidence with her too. Hair, DNA on the taillight, and she drove back to John's house. And she started calling on the way back, 12:33, just a minute and a half later. And then her messages show her anger. You see, this was John's fault. This was John's fault. And her phone calls tell you about the tone and the destruction of that relationship. 53 phone calls that night. 53 phone calls. Not one to 911. Not one to Jen McKay, please go outside and try to help. Not one to a hospital. Not one to anybody but him. 53 calls. Slide 12, please.
Because you'd make 53 calls to a dead person and if you
play voice no one, please. The calls keep coming. Cell phone temperature, 72 degrees. He's been outside now, not moving, on that cold, hard ground with his cell phone under him. The warmth of his body, the cold ground, 72 degrees. It tells you the story. As this temperature plummets and that cell phone battery is compromised, so is John O'Keefe. And him and his cell phone alone on that yard. 66 degrees at 12:45. It is plummeting. Ian Whippin's taking a phone and putting it in a freezer, not a same analogy. The idea that means that John O'Keefe went in the house, absurd. 66 turns to 61, it's 12:53. 48 unanswered calls from the defendant. He's not in at a party. He's not wrestling with Brian Higgins. He's not in a fight. If he's in a fight, his cell phone would be moving. There'd be healthcare data. There'd be steps. If he got into the house in 20 seconds and his cell phone is found under his body the next day, then how would he get back outside? There would be more steps because his phone is working. The data is the data. There's nothing wrong with it. It's registering everything. The temperature, the movement. He doesn't go in any house. He can't go in any house. His phone never moves again. Voice note number 3, please. Listen to this.
John, I'm dealing with a fucking kid. Nobody knows what the fuck you want. Fucking murder.
Did you hear that? Nobody knows where you are. It is 12:59. John O'Keefe has been on that lawn for about 27 minutes. She hasn't called anybody else, hasn't spoken, has no information. Nobody's called her. You'll see her phone records. And she says, nobody knows where you are? She knows. She knows. Nobody does know where he is. Except her. Except her. Why is she asking nobody knows who you are? She is starting to get panicked because she knows she hit him.
No, because she knows he's fucking missing.
Or for him to die, but she knows she hit him, and now he's not responding, and she's getting nervous, and she's getting anxious, and she's leaving call after call after call. He's not answering. He's not calling back. He's not even picking up the phone. And we know what's happening at this point. Panic, drunken denial, it's setting in. And so then we see the healthcare data from Miss Reed's phone. She doesn't move. after a little after 1 o'clock. She could be sitting, she could have fallen asleep, but she doesn't move for a while. But she wakes up. She wakes up early the next morning. Take that down, please. And when she wakes up, she doesn't call Jen McCabe and say, "Where's John?" She doesn't call Brian Higgins. Has his number, has been texting with him. "Hey, was John at a party with you? Did you see John tonight?"
She called Brian Higgins.
She knows exactly where she is, and she's frantic. So she wakes up Kaylee, that young girl at the time, and she says, she's panicked, she can't understand what she's saying. "Call Jen McCabe, call Jen McCabe." Why is she calling Jen McCabe? She calls Jen McCabe. You know what she doesn't say when she calls Jen McCabe? "When did he leave the house? What happened last night?" No. She calls and says, "I left him at the waterfall. I left him at the waterfall." See, now it's gone from panicked to self-preservation. "I left him at the waterfall." And Jen says, "Left him at the waterfall? I saw you in front of the house." Click. Hangs up. Hangs up. So then she calls someone that she doesn't know very well. She calls Carrie Roberts. But now she has to pivot because someone has seen her in the exact spot that John will be found soon. Whether she's the first one there or somebody else, John will be found. Maybe Lucky missed him. It's a snowstorm. You can't see. But someone's going to find him at some point.
Disregard
So
it.
she calls Carrie Roberts. It's no longer she left him at the waterfall. She pivots. She calls Carrie. John's dead. I think he got hit by a plow. Why do you think she chose those words?
That's the most logical explanation.
Because she knew that there was a collision with a large motor vehicle, and she had to substitute her 6,000-pound Lexus for another big vehicle. I think he got hit by a plow. And so now we have the introduction of Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts. Phone calls that they probably never, ever wanted. A worse nightmare to get a call like that for what's going to happen, what they're going to see, what they'll never be able to forget. But because the defendant is John O'Keefe's girlfriend, they wake up in the middle of the night in a blizzard out of their kindness, their loyalty, their devotion to John O'Keefe. And when she calls them and tells them that she wants them to come out, this soccer mom with a perfectly normal life gets drawn into this whole farce, and she answers that call. She gets out of bed. The spirit and kindness she displays to put herself in that position because someone asked for help, because that's what good people do. Carrie Roberts didn't know Jen McCabe. They both knew John. They met each other once years before. Carrie Roberts separately at that time answers the call, gets out of bed, drives to go help because they have a common denominator, a common bond, John O'Keefe. And so you hear and see at 5:07, the defendant leaves Meadows. She leaves. And Kaylee is behind waiting. And you see her back up, and Judd Welch just showed you all of those demonstrations where you could see the unsettled snow in the back, and after the bump, you can see the pieces missing. No taillight. There's no taillight on the ground, all the white snow. There's no crack, there's no break. It's a nudge. It's a nudge. But the taillight has already been broken because when you look at the video, not one little piece, it's still framed, little angle with the light, the brakes, you take a look, you'll be able to slow it down. You'll see the exact same piece is missing because it's back at Fairview. That's why it's missing. It's not there, it's back at Fairview. And then she leaves at 5:07. She gets to Jen McCabe's about, 5:35, 28 minutes. It's about a 10-minute ride. Where did she go in 28 minutes? Where did she go? We don't know. We don't have data for that. But we know when she gets to Jen McCabe's house, she is panicked, frantic, out of her mind, screaming,
of course she
waking
is.
everybody up. Jen McCabe comes down, can't understand her, going out to the car to try to console her. Why is she so frantic? Why can't
Because her boyfriend hasn't come home.
Because John went out and had a drink and fell asleep on a couch? Because John would maybe be cheating on her? What is causing this extraordinary duress? Did she stop somewhere on the way by? Did she just see death?
Really? Did she stop somewhere on the way by?
Take charge kind of person.
Ugh.
She pulls him behind. She sees the broken taillight in Jen McCabe's driveway, and she decides she's going to commandeer this. We're going to the back to Meadows. You're going to follow me. Leave the car. I'll drive. At this point, Jen and Carrie don't know each other. They only met once.
It wasn't even Carrie Roberts that suggested that. It was Jen McCabe.
And they go back to Meadows. They obviously don't find John because he's back at 34 Fairview. And then they start their way towards 34 Fairview. They start driving towards 34 Fairview, and they're looking. And you heard from Carrie Roberts, Jen McCabe. They're looking out the window. They can't see a thing. The snow, the blizzard, the weather, the darkness. They can't see anything. And they're driving
and driving, and they decide they're going back to 34 Fairview, and this is remarkable. This is remarkable. When they start their way past towards 34 Fairview, they get close. And when they get close, they can see nothing. But the defendant screams, "Stop, let me out." And they look around and they say, "What? Let me out, let me out." She does not see John O'Keefe. She knows where he is. She knows exactly where he is. She knows where to find him. She knows where to expect to find them because she knows where she left him. She tells us. Slide 13, please.
Driving Jen's in the passenger seat. And I described this to everyone, so you probably heard this before, but John looked like a buffalo on the prairie. It was just a lawn in a heap that it wasn't a bush or a hydrant or a dog. It was a weird shaped lump at that time in those elements. And I was looking to find him on the side of the road. I was expecting I'd find him.
Thank you. A weird shaped lump in a blizzard, and you equate that to John O'Keefe. A weird shaped lump, not like a bush, and that is John O'Keefe. She tells us she knows where she left John O'Keefe.
It was something
and
out
so
of
they go
place.
over to Mr. O'Keefe, Kerry, and Karen, and she's upset. There's no doubt. I am not for a second trying to deprive her of the unrest and the trauma that is happening at this scene. Doesn't change what happened before, but I appreciate the trauma. And they're trying to help him. And guess what happens when they first move him around 603, 604? Ian Whiffen, data. The cell phone battery gets the cool air, presses on the battery, the cell phone battery drops. Healthcare data, he has not moved since that 22nd, hasn't moved. They start shaking him. You're going to see, when you look at the records, that healthcare data starts to move. He's been there all night. All night. Nobody else. Her. And so when they try to help him, she says something that is remarkable. She says, "There's a piece of glass stuck in his nose." And she plucks it out. And she says when she plucks it out, blood spurts out. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Remember that. Piece of glass, pulls it out, blood spurts out. That's what she says. As they try to help John, Jen is calling 911. They would like you to believe there's a conspiracy. That the glass that's found in Mr. O'Keefe's
Why
body
the fuck would the
is
defense
somehow
want a conspiracy?
inside the Albert House. The glass, well, you will hear in the clips. If we don't play it, you'll have all the clips with you. She talks about the fact that he took her glass. He took the glass. She says it. So the Albert House, they don't need to give glass. He already has the glass with the straw that's later found on the street, by the way.
Yeah, but none of that,
impact things more.
unfortunately, none of that glass actually matched the glass that John had. So, dickhead, how the fuck did that get there then? How'd you explain that? How? Completely different glass.
Comes with him, lands near his body. Debris field moves past him. Shoe, hat, straw.
That's exactly what they thought while they were standing.
Call to her sister, and they say,
what he just said: shoe, hat. That's what they're standing on the side of the fucking road. All right, where are we going to put this shit? Shoe, hat, debris field.
because it registers 29 seconds. A cell-right record is not the same as a call.
All right, we're at what, the 50-minute mark, and we've mentioned the wounds on John how many times? None. We mentioned the hair.
No record. There's no evidence. It was a conversation. No lights go on. There's no conspiracy. You can call somebody. It can ring. It can go to voicemail. They have no evidence. None that there's a conversation between Jen.
So Morrissey calls it a conspiracy, and Hank is blaming the defense for creating a conspiracy.
Okay, the person was ripped out of her sleep to come help and her sister for some grand conspiracy. And so what happens next is traumatic. Kerry Roberts and Jen McCabe see their best friend prone, lifeless, frozen, on the ground. And they're living this torment because somebody brought them into this. When they're trying to help John, there is not one suggestion from anybody that John ever went into that house. There's no reason to go into that house because John was never in the house. Not one time does anybody say, what time did he leave? I thought he went in there.
Not even a whisper of it, because it never,
No, he wasn't in the house while Colin was there.
ever happened. When they find their friend John, he's not 20 feet off the side of the road, like Mr. Rentler or Mr. Wolf thinks. He's right there by the side of the road, close by the curb. Do we have slide 14, please? You can see there's Terry Roberts' vehicle, and then on the left, you can see where they're working. Right off the road, that's not 20 feet. That is a clip, a stumble, and a fall. Remember when Jonathan fell, there wasn't snow. It was just the beginning of the dusting. It was the cold, hard ground. Remember what Dr. Isaac Wolf told us about cold, hard ground? Causes this type of injury all the time. All the time. If we could go to slide 16, please. Remember the glass in the nose? The glass in the nose. See on the bottom left, that's where the Canton Police Department found the glass. That he took from the car. From the waterfall.
All that glass? Not the same. Not the right one. Sorry. Bye-bye.
Exhibit 195, matching glass. On February 3rd, the matching piece of glass was found on the street.
Liar,
The
liar,
matching
pants
piece
on
of
fire.
glass, the glass that was found with Mr. O'Keefe, was found on the street. He didn't fall back 8-10 feet from the road. It broke, and then it shattered and went to the street. I would suggest to you it broke at the time of the collision.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Leaving the evidence behind,
whoops.
a trail to memorialize what happened to him that night. Remember the straw I asked you to take a look at that picture of leaving the waterfall at 12:12, the black straw in the drink on the street. Collision, glass, nose, straw, back is his head. You play the clip on the left, please. 59.
So when John got out of the car at Ryan Albert's house, he took my full vodka soda, which is sitting there.
One look at you, and I know that you are an idiot.
A cup holder.
169, please.
So John's laying there, his left and his right, and I approach John from the left. That's where the street is. And he had a piece of glass, like perched on his nose, like just wedged like a splinter would be. And I just pulled it. And as soon as I pulled it, it just gushed blood down his face.
Thank you. 911's called by Jen McCabe. She's not hiding from anybody. She's trying to help. She's bringing attention to the situation. And when 911 comes, we have first responders. These people are heroes. Some of them, you heard from some of them, they were born to help people. That's what their life is about. The detail on all their mechanics. They've been getting to work 2 hours early in the middle of the blizzard so they get there on time so you can help people. These are the core of our community. Mr. Nuttall, this is what he does. He rushes to go help. He's the first person on his knees. He doesn't know this person from anybody. But to him, it's another human being. This is his passion. Katie McLaughlin, first responder. This is not just a profession, it's her life. Yes, she knows Caitlin Albert. Do you think she went there that night at a party and set up a murder and came back? And so they tell you what happens at the scene. Some things hard to remember, some things people will never forget. When you're in a traumatic incident, sometimes it's something you'll never, ever forget. And Timothy Nuttall remembers speaking to the defendant. I hit him. Remember, he's on his knees. What happened? I hit him. I hit him. She is now coming to terms with the moment. Her fear is realized. She hit him. She clipped him. She didn't think he was mortally wounded. She panicked. She can't come to terms with it, so she has to bring people with her to face it. And now she's facing the reality of what she had done. And her emotion is overwhelming. I hit him. I hit him. She speaks to Miss McLaughlin. I hit him. Not did I hit him? Could I hit him? Perhaps I hit him. That was earlier. Now she's recognizing what she did. I hit him.
I'm not even going to bother commenting on this because I have proven that that's all bullshit in previous fucking episodes.
And these people are making it up. Anybody that says anything adverse or inconsistent or inconvenient is a liar or a perjurer or in on a conspiracy. Or is it that these good people who went there for a total stranger to do their duty to help happen to remember that she admitted what she had done? I know that doesn't reconcile with the boogeyman Proctor and the bad government. I know it doesn't reconcile with no DNA on this piece of that piece. I know it doesn't reconcile with everybody setting up the girl. I know that doesn't reconcile. But the reality is you have independent.
The reality is that you haven't discussed the weapon doesn't fit the injury. The murder weapon and the victim. No match. No. No comprende.
Core people who hear her say, I hit him. And the attempt is to portray everybody as a liar. You don't have to rely just on these good people, although you should. You don't have to, because we have a guide, and it's Karen Reed. Slide 17.
So I must have said was, I always said I didn't, but did I really say this many times as law enforcement explaining I said it?
Thank you. I know it doesn't fit the theme, the theory, the story, but she tells you herself. She endorses those good people exactly what they had heard. She tells you herself she hit him. It's undeniable, it's unmistakable, it's inconvenient. But the truth has a way of seeing.
So, I digress. I go back. Law enforcement didn't facing the scrutiny for their investigative failures. Law enforcement became the investigators of her alleged disinformation. The twist. Yeah, the burden shift. Karen Reed's defense alleged a cover-up becomes Karen Reed was positioned as the fabricator of a false conspiracy. Who pushed the fucking conspiracy theory? Who? Not the defense, because that goes against that goes against Karen. That switches the burden even more. It's fucking textbook.
Up to the daylight. It can be oppressed and suppressed and pushed down and covered and twisted, but it rises. It rises. And it is not a coincidence. There's no coincidence that Mr. Nuttall and Ms. McLaughlin hear exactly that. She tells you. And Jen McCabe, when she's sitting next to or standing next to Ms. McLaughlin, she tells you that she saw or heard the same thing. Remember what happened to her on the stand when she had the audacity to say, I heard her say it? What happened to her? This woman who never wanted to leave her home that day, impeached about? Storm to see her best friend dead. What happened when she had the audacity to say that? And now we know that the defendant herself said the same thing. And the funny thing, the ironic thing is, you will see in a photo when Ms. McLaughlin, firefighter, was speaking to the defendant, Ms. McCabe was next to her. Ms. McCabe was trying to protect her, trying to shut her up. Don't talk, you're upset, stop saying crazy things. The villain of the story was trying to help the defendant from incriminating herself.
Let's spin that narrative, shall we?
Irony.
Hank, can we get back to the time injuries?
This is the battery temperature. You're going to have a chance to look at it.
Do we really need to go through this?
It is interesting if you like data.
Do we really need to go through it all? I don't. He infuriates the fuck out of me. Absolutely infuriates the fuck out of me. And we've got 20 minutes of his bullshit left. And we still haven't addressed the issue.
The 29, 12, 13. They're leaving the waterfall, 82 degrees, 12:22. In the car, 77 degrees, 12:37. About 3.5 minutes after the defendant collides with John O'Keefe, it started to go down 72, 12:45, 66, 12:53, 61. And you see it drop and steady off at 1:36. Remember, cell phone battery under him. John O'Keefe, either struggling for life or he's passed. And the blood's still warm, either way, under him. Doesn't move again until 6:06. It drops down 7 degrees because the women are pulling on him. The cold air is hitting the battery. What happens at 6:15? You're going to see the video. You've seen it. Still photos. Kerry Roberts goes over, takes up the phone. Not only does she pick up the phone, she puts it in her pocket, and then 20 minutes later, the next meeting, the temperature rises. That's not convenient. That's not a coincidence. That's fact. That's data. And then the phone is passed with a warm environment, and it raises up. 6:15. How can someone conspire to pick up a phone on the side of the yard under Mr. O'Keefe's body at 6:15 and know the battery temperature was then going to rise? Not only did the battery temperature rise, when you look at the healthcare data, at 6:15 when she picks up the phone, you know what happens to the healthcare data, right? It starts to move. It's data. It's data. So, while they're going through this duress, the defendant asked Jen McCabe for yet another favor. Look up hypothermia.
find out how long it takes for someone to die in the cold. And there's Miss McCabe in her winter jacket, soccer mom, trying to help. She has MS, her hands aren't working, she's trying to type in what's happening during that time. It's a frantic scene. She tells you that the defendant then wants to run back to the ambulance, so she goes with her, never finishes or completes the input. And then she tries it again at 6:23, at 6:24. That's what this woman did that night, that morning. Not only for her friend, for her. That's what she did. And what happens to her after? Because the timestamp, when you open the timestamp, it's at the time it's open, and she's in bed at 2:27 looking up Hockomock Sports because she is so interested in the kids' sports, and that timestamp stays open. And she goes to that tab the next morning when she puts in how long to die in cold. And that is being portrayed that she's in a conspiracy. She gets vilified as a murderer.
Conspiracy again.
Who came to help?
Mm-hmm.
It took Ian Whiffen
Oh,
5
little
minutes to do a
Jen.
live demonstration on how simple that works.
Bullshit.
And she's not deleting
Bullshit.
it. Jessica Hyde told you it's automatic deletions over time. You usually can't delete that information. That's not a click and swipe like the good Dr. Wolf from Arca knows how to do.
No, 29 times they tried to delete it and they fucking couldn't.
This can't be erased.
29 times.
But they still hold on to this. As they argue to you and all the injustices that have been done, they tell you, they want you to believe. They'll take a flyer on the fact that she looked up how long to die in the cold at 2:27. It is an absolute contrary to the science. There's no basis to support it, but they stand here in front of you. Why? Because every time they say something like that, you look the other way. Don't look at her. Look the other way. 2:27. Look the other way. Don't look at what she did. Former Trooper Proctor. Look the other way. Don't look at her. Every time they make those, oh, she got the glass from inside the Alberts. Maybe in the basement. Look the other way. Don't look the other way. Look at the facts. Look at the data. And it all leads to one person. There's no grand conspiracy. It leads to one person, the defendant. And it's not just the data and facts. It's her herself. Let's talk about Mr. Proctor. You were invoked with this emotion early in the opening that this is a cancer. That's a tough word. Try to evoke that primal reaction, disgust. I'm not saying you shouldn't be disgusted by the text messages. You should. You should. They're not defensible. I don't stand here and defend impropriety. I don't. But that doesn't change the physical evidence, the scientific evidence.
The physical evidence.
He was
Really?
terminated. He paid a penalty. He was held responsible for what he did. He should have been. He should have been. But that doesn't get a free pass. That doesn't change.
Well, he's
facts. It doesn't change
exploring
the physical evidence. It doesn't change
physical
the science.
evidence.
It's unfortunate. It's distasteful. It's dishonorable. Remember, Trooper Lieutenant was asked, was the investigation with honor and integrity? And he said it was. Was Trooper Proctor's effort honor and integrity? And he said it was integrity. But he never said honor. That's a man of honor. Military service, dedicated to his country, highest level of clearances to the President of the United States, now a state trooper. He would not say that Trooper Proctor was honorable. Because he wasn't. He wasn't. But that does not change. It doesn't create a conspiracy. Doesn't invent a dog. It doesn't make somebody in a house something they're not. It just doesn't. When you read those text messages, they're hard to look at. It's unfair. It's unfair. And if there was a penalty more than being fired, well, maybe that penalty would be deserved. But it has nothing to do with the justice in this case. It just doesn't. There's not one piece of evidence, not one, that we can look at and say, this was tampered with. This was planted. This was distorted. Remember when we introduced the taillight?
Every single one of your exhibits was planted or distorted.
Introduced via the taillights, but then the defense did, so I put them in. Those were taillights that were only found by Trooper Proctor. I did not put that evidence in. Understanding those text messages and appreciating the disdain one might have for his comments. Not that there was any evidence of tampering, not that there was any evidence that it was not true, but I didn't put that evidence before you because we didn't need Trooper Proctor in this case. We don't need Trooper Proctor.
What evidence have you put forward, Hank?
That's why I didn't introduce that evidence to you. Now, there's been a lot of talk about planting of taillight. We know the taillight wasn't planted because Trooper Buchanan and Mr. Proctor did not go down to Dighton to see Miss Reed until later in the afternoon. We know from the 507 video, we've seen that. We know the taillight was already missing when she's leaving the driveway. When the good Canton police detectives went to do a wellness check to care for those young children, and they went to the house, inadvertently, they didn't even know it, the dash cam captured the back of the car. The taillight packed with snow is missing. It's already gone. It can't be planted.
It was no. The fuck? He's making shit up as he goes along. The inside of that taillight had nothing. Oh my God. I feel like bashing my head against a fucking wall.
At this point, Trooper Proctor's still in his pajamas. He's not even on the case. He's not even on the scene. He hasn't been near the car.
No.
And then the Dighton videos
All
themselves,
listening.
when you close it, you take it at an angle and it moves, but if you get the right angle, you can see it's missing.
No,
It's gone. Can we have slide 18,
fucking
please?
bullshit.
507. You can play anything you want. If you look at this angle, it's gone.
What?
You know, plant.
Where is it gone?
Already gone. You know where it is? 34 Fairview Road, on the refield. January 29th, 2022, 823. Look at the right-hand side. Look at the left-hand side. It's back to snow. It's gone. It's gone. And the same thing, with videos, it's a different angle, a little smaller. If you play that and watch the flash falling down and slow it down, you see it expands. It's gone. So when you have Dighton Officer Barrows come in here and try to tell you what he saw in the salad bar, couldn't have been it. You got to ask yourself, what interest does he have coming in here in this case? A lot of attention on this case. A lot of people watching.
Really?
Comes in after, of course,
Really?
driving all the way out to the defense attorney's hotel to meet in the conference room so he can get a subpoena. He spends 2 hours driving up and back so that he can conveniently get a subpoena that tells him to appear, which he could have got by fax or in the mail.
Really?
And so when he comes in, what he says is, that's absolutely not what I saw. Absolutely not. And then he claims at the last time he testified, he had made the same statement. I showed him his transcript. And did you see the redness creep over his face? He never said that before. In fact, he testified to the opposite. And so he sits on the stand with a new story after a meeting. We don't know why. But then I show him that bottom.
What the fuck are you on
Look
about?
at missing. And I say, is this the way it looked? That's, of course, before the snow melts out in the salad port so that you can see it unexposed. And he says, yes, he had to agree. This taillight was gone. There's no boogeyman. There's no plant. There's no Higgins at the salad port. There's no one tearing out pieces. In fact, remember I played you a clip and you'll have it where the defendant says, I was picking out pieces. It was crashed in. The bulb was showing when I was showing Kerry and Jen when they went back to Meadows. If you don't remember, listen to that clip. You'll hear it. Unfortunately, there's no ring video when they go back to Meadows.
No,
There's
funny
ring
that.
video when she leaves. There's no ring video when she gets back. And so
I can't believe he's
now
fucking
when we're trying to look
blatantly
the other
lying.
way, we want to find a dog fight. So enter Dr. Russell. Dr. Russell, according to her, nice woman, nice doctor, very accomplished. I respect that. She's the only dog expert in the world. The thing is, we know no idea what that expertise means. She volunteers for the job. She wants to be here. Puts it on her profile, but she can't explain methodology. What are you looking for in a dog
Oh my
fight? She can't
God.
tell us. It starts a year ago that it's claws, it's teeth, and then it's claws, then it's teeth, and then it's I don't know. And then when you look at each of the different parts of the abrasions, she says, well, I can't tell if I look at each one of them, but all together it's a dog bite. It's a dog attack. That is the masterful expertise that the defense has bragged about bringing in.
And right there is, okay. So she comes in, she tells you these are dog bites. But let me show you why they're not. Let me show you how this debris field from the tail light caused those injuries to his arm. Let me show you that.
Dr. Russell telling you, because she says this is a dog bite. She has never been in a forensic situation where she's looked at a wound and identified it as a dog bite before. This is the first time, the only time she's ever done it. And what she says is these are not punctures. Punctures means it goes into the skin, a wound. There's no punctures. And she's sure because she's an expert, so you should rely on her because she's coming in saying she's an expert and she's being presented. Yet, after saying there's no punctures, Dr. LaPosada comes in and she sees punctures everywhere. It's an animal attack. It's a dog. Oh, is it? No method, no methodology, no history of this, no prior testimony that we know of other than arbitrarily what she says. And she's
Prove the fuck it isn't then. Prove it isn't. Give us a fucking reason. Prove it.
says the exact opposite of Dr. Russell. Why is that? How does that happen? So obviously there is no science to looking at an abrasion and saying where it came from. They give us no detail. They give us nothing that we should rely on. They contradict each other. It's just a diction to look the other way. And so we have now the issue of the defense has said over and over again, there's no collision. There's no collision. There's no collision. And they had a number of witnesses come in to try to say that. And they point to Dr. Scotty Bello, who works at the medical examiner's office. She tells you that she doesn't see injuries consistent with a collision. She's looking at this case for 90 days. 90 days. The evidence in this case did not stop. It continued for 2 years. She knows nothing about the data, nothing about the black box,
Oh my God.
nothing about the interviews of Miss Reed.
That does not change the fucking condition that John was in. It does not change anything. about her assessment. She is assessing the wounds and the cause of death, not the fucking data.
She doesn't know about the DNA. She doesn't know about the shards in the arm or in the clothes. Just write that in the clothes. She knows nothing about that. So in 90 days, she didn't see any lower body injuries. She didn't see any lower extremity injuries, which are very common in car collisions.
Very common.
But that doesn't mean it didn't happen because she, in 90 days, saw a fraction of the information.
Oh my God.
A fraction. And we know now, argument back and forth for days.
So 90 days later, he's going to develop fucking bruises and fractures from the car collision. Is he? Is he? Really? Fuckwit?
Lower body injuries. The suggestion is a car accident can affect everybody differently depending on the angle, the scope, the speed. Some people can get plowed over by a car and have no injuries. Some people can get touched lightly and have more injuries. And there was the debate about no lower body injuries. Well, ARCA dispelled that in their dummy test that you can have a collision with no lower body injuries. They did that for us. Thank you. And so the idea that at the time in 90 days that she doesn't have enough information to say consistent with a car accident doesn't mean there's no car accident.
Yeah, it does.
Let me talk a little bit about ARCA. I don't want to waste too much time with them.
Hang on.
What?
Aren't you supposed to be talking about how the collision killed him? Proving it.
Expert who's supposed to come to you. They're not the arbiter of truth. Their opinions weigh no more than yours. Your common sense has more value than an expert's opinion. Their job,
yeah, you know, my common sense is telling
what their expertise is so that it's a tool for you so that you can make a decision. That's objectivity. We heard words like confirmation bias, it's objectivity. Mr. Wolf got on the stand. And before we even started, you have to ask yourself, what expert has a court order for text messages and then deletes the text messages? What expert? What
oh my God.
Expert?
Are you for real?
Uses signal, and encrypted out to communicate about the case.
Client attorney
Never used it
privilege.
before, hasn't used it since. And so when he did his tests, he used a lower weight arm. Wasn't trying to bash him, wasn't trying to insult him, tried to get him just to recognize that a 9.38 pound arm is less weight than John O'Keefe's metric, which would be 11.8. That's all. And because it's a lighter arm, it takes more speed to create the same damage.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
science, I don't know math very well, but that's basic. It's basic. And he fought me over and over again. Did he seem objective that he was trying to help you? Because Dr. Reitzel came in the next day and said, well, you have to adjust for that. That's all I asked him for an hour about adjusting, just like Judge Welcher adjusted. Do you adjust it?
Oh.
And he tried to talk to me like I was making something up. His own colleague had to admit it. Now, it's funny, he admitted it before he got through his credentials. No sequestration order violations. Nobody was coaching him, but he knew enough to come in at the beginning and get right on that point. And speaking of sequestration, remember Dr. Russell on her limo ride over? If Brendan asks you a question, make sure you ask for a transcript. Impede the progress. Slow down the questioning.
Oh my God.
Sequestration orders is this fundamental fairness for all witnesses, not just some. And so what happens with Dr. Renfrew, we don't know, but we do know he comes in here and he tells you that he was not getting information that was helping him the last time he testified. He insisted. I asked him 5 times, was he getting information that would help him in his testimony? Not from the defense, from his former employer. He said, no, no, no. And at the end of the examination, he reads his transcript and it's yes, yes, yes. And he tells us that he's independent and objective. I asked him about a luncheon, not a big deal, just ask him about it. And he says, I have a sandwich and I stand in the corner until I remind him that we got video footage from a documentarian and he's in one of the scenes. And then things change. So when you talk about objectivity, who to trust, they can come in and say, Judge Welcher said this and that. It doesn't mean so. Judge Welcher, Dr. Welcher, never in any report, in any presentation, in any testimony to you, ever suggested this is how it happened. This was how his arm was. This is how his feet was. He was trying to show whether or not the orientation. Could this happen with the angle, with the height? That's all that test was. It was no more. But what they do is they reposture it, repackage it, and say it means this when it doesn't, and we're going to show you why it's not that, therefore we win. That's all that is. It's semantics. Judge Welcher, Dr. Welcher, never suggested that. And his work on text stream data, unassailable. And so what we have, inevitably, is we have a timeline that never moves, data that never changes.
No, sorry. Well, yeah, it's a fucking crock of shit, a fucking load of bullshit, and this man fucking. I don't remember how many fucking lies he tells in this. Blatant lies. Like, fuck.
Physical evidence that can't be.
Physical evidence can't be fucking. Yeah, you still haven't fucking connected the two. Connect the dots.
In that spot without a collision. We have inevitably proof without any doubt, that on January 20th.
Yep, you've convinced me beyond a reasonable doubt that there was a collision, for sure, because she was pissed off.
2022, Miss Reed was with Mr. O'Keefe, and she got drunk. She drank. She was 2 to 3 times over the legal limit. And they went to a party, an after party, and they were fighting. It was a relationship in decline, and he got out of the car, and he had a brief window of life left. But when he got out, and she drove away, she couldn't let it go. She got drunk. She hit him. She left him to die. It's that simple.
Yep.
We don't know exactly how this collision happened, but we have a good idea from the physical evidence, and we know that it happened. Can someone have a collision without lower body injuries? Can I have slide 19, please? You bet they can.
Oh my God.
We don't know if this is the body position. We don't know if this is the exact speed, but what it tells us, this is viable. Look at the debris field. Turn. Remember his sneaker on that curb? They got logic.
And the bones in the arm didn't break.
Against the sneaker. Mr. O'Keefe then falls back, hits his head, counter coup.
Counter coup? Fuckwit. Contra coup. Get it right, Raymond.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt what happened that night. There is no doubt who did it. You have a very difficult task ahead of you when you consider the evidence and you consider the law.
You do.
Very difficult. There are 3 charges. There is second-degree murder.
All right.
Ms. Reed.
Enough of the bullshit. I can't do it anymore. That's just fucked. Now I remember why I've got PTSD from this fucking trial. Holy crap. I have no words. Just the absolute drivel. Yep. Well, I have to close that window. I can't even look at his face anymore. Just, well, whose bright idea was that? Fucking hell. All right. Yep, and that's what, how long have we been streaming for? That's 2 hours and 22 minutes of my life. I'll never get back. 2 hours and 22 minutes of bullshit. All right. Well, it must be my bedtime. Yep, 3 a.m. Yep, definitely. Yeah. Take what you will. But yeah. I just can't even fucking concentrate now. I'm gonna have to dig out my my response to Hank's questioning of Arca and play it, because yeah, that's gonna be funny. I've never actually watched it back again, to be honest. But yeah, all right. I haven't even fucking looked at chat. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Oh, we have rain. Hallelujah. Oh, thank fuck for that. That wasn't on the forecast. Oh, please, I hope it's raining over yay. Shit hot. All right, darlings. Thank you. Oh, what have we got? What's that? What is it? I'm going to be going to have to grab it from the back. It's a short. Hang on. Let me share it. Good old Pauline, hey? Please explain.
Please explain.
Please explain.
Please explain.
Please explain.
Please explain.
Please explain. Come on, it's pretty
Please
close.
explain.
Please explain. I think she's still in politics, I'm pretty sure. Please explain. All right, bitches, I'm off. I'm going nice. Yeah, I think I do it pretty well. Please explain. All right, and that's done. I think I can't do any more currently. Oh, actually, no, sorry, it's not done. I'm going to go through every exhibit, every single one. I'm on a quest. So thanks for joining again. Hope it was enlightening in some way, even if it was just please explain. Thanks for being here. And if you can't be good at it. I'll see you when I'm looking at you. Hasta la vista, bitches.
Hey there, thanks for stopping in. We hope you will join us again. We all look forward to next time. We get to talk about true crime. Clues. Justice served in an honest fight. True crime tales till the verdict's right. Solving more than just trivial quests, where sentences rule and the defense rests. Our true crime family is great. All types of topics we debate. Smash that like and ring that bell. Hit subscribe, you might as well.